Welcome, everybody, to Generation Dan, the podcast run by your favorite Velma the Uncharismatic Prostitute. Today, we're talking about the joys of our childhood, but you know what the best toy is? One brought to you by. I don't have a fake sex toy to come up with. I'm Atlas. I'm your millennial. Who else is here with me?
I'm Dino the Genetic Marvel, and as someone who's been smoking for way too long, you sound horrible, sir. You sound horrible.
Yeah.
That's
I have COVID, so
yeah.
that's I've Katie and I have been stuck in the house for the last 2 to 3 days, dying slowly, but
Good morning,
that's
Jim.
okay.
I mean, it's something.
This gives me something to do. But yeah, there's a YouTube channel I like called Characters Welcome. That's where you just play a character as like a sketch on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and I would love to do Velma the Uncharismatic Prostitute as a
I mean,
as a character.
I feel like you have to now. Hello,
Yeah,
Victoria.
it's in New
Yeah.
York, unfortunately, so I'm not even sure how that happens.
All right.
Um, yeah, I today we're talking about the toys of our childhood.
Well, so this is something that is hilarious to me. Is that I remember when I was in, I think I would have been probably in high school still. We took a trip to the stock exchange, and it was a big thing. And we went and we got to meet a bunch of people. And the funny thing was that at the stock exchange, it had this thing where it was like, guess which was more profitable as stuff to invest in over time. It's
Okay.
interesting that you would say that, Jim. So it was like, okay, stocks or bonds or real estate, and then it had collectibles, so like trading cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the number one thing was collectibles.
Because this is like Beanie Baby era, right? Where they're
Well,
just like, yeah, it can only go up. You know?
it was no, it was actually before that. But the fact was that like that was the time when people started going through crazy just nostalgia stuff. And then after that there was Beanie Babies and stuff like that. And it was like
Right.
collectibles have been some of the most profitable things. And hilariously, like I remember toys that I had as a kid that have disappeared, and you're like, oh yeah, if you kept that in the box, that's worth a ridiculous amount of money. It's like, Jesus.
Mhm.
And then, now as an adult, I have a ridiculous amount of Lego and collectibles and all sorts of stuff because I'm a nerd. So
We'll get to that later, like with the collectibles and
yeah,
like the games, because of course I'm going to talk about TCGs. I wanted to focus first on when you were like a wee baby child. What
yeah.
sort of toys did you have around the house?
So it's kind of been the same for the whole time. It's been Legos, GI Joes, Transformers, comic books. Those have been the big things for me
Does a comic
forever.
book count as a toy?
I I mean,
Because like you
I
you
think so.
associate it with nerd stuff, but hmm, I guess so. But like,
I to be
it's
honest
like
with
you
you,
count books as part of toys to me. That like,
I kind of do. I'll be honest with
okay,
you. I do
right.
continue. I do count books um as toys, just because it's anything that occupies your time, right?
Yeah, and
No wonder why Trump wants to take over Canada.
usually like on like websites or like a store, it'll be like toys and books, like they group them together.
I
For
feel like toys.
yeah,
You know what? I feel like it depends on how good of a student you are, depending on if you would count books in with toys. I wasn't a good student, but I
me
do
neither
count.
until later. Yeah,
Yeah,
my sister was the good one, so I had to be the funny
mm,
one. That was
that's
the
fair. That's fair. That's just how life works. It's just one of those things, right?
um
Uh, yeah, no, I like, I really, it depends on what kind of childhood you had, right? Like,
right, yeah, like socioeconomic status has
yeah,
like a bearing on like what kind of toys you have. Do you have older cousins or siblings that you like,
yeah,
okay, you
yeah,
get their toys now? Um
yeah, which is just
uh
a hoop and a stick, and you gotta run it down the road. That's
down the dirt road.
yeah,
Yeah. I definitely came from like a privileged background. You have parents in medicine. They were
Yeah.
together the first 10 years of my childhood. So my toys growing up were
Yeah.
admittedly, this was a thing, I think, because my dad was always really into tech, was
Mm.
like RC, like radio controlled this or that, like the cars.
Interesting.
The first toy I remember asking for, and I can corroborate this because my mom has a journal she was keeping from when I was like 4 or 5 years old.
For real. Oh my god.
It was this big it's like a big wheel on the front,
Yeah.
and then it's remote controlled, and the whole gimmick is that you can drive the car even if it flips over, and
Yes.
you're supposed to like bump the wheel into stuff, it flips over, and then the controls are inverted, but you can still use
Did
it.
it? Did you get it?
Oh yeah, totally.
Did it actually do that thing? Did it go
Yeah, it
bounce?
did.
Damn.
It
Yeah,
did.
so-
I remember playing with that for like an inordinately long amount of time.
Yeah.
And
It's a
then
cool gift.
when like my parents split up and we were doing the like moving sale, that was one of the things we sold.
Mm.
Where like that was one of the first toys I remember being conscious for, right?
Oh.
That was a big one. Another one was like Thomas the Tank Engine was fucking like put that shit directly into my 3-year-old veins. That was
That's fair.
my grandpa gave us all 22 caliber rifles for our 10th birthday. Jesus, Jim.
I mean, that's top tier business.
Hello,
Dr.
what is
Cooper,
this?
what is
We're a
this?
show talking about generational differences, and we're talking about our childhood toys today.
Yes.
So yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine, where I think that occupies a similar space to Lego,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Blocks, the kind of like, here's a bunch of stuff, build it so you don't bring yourself on the coffee table. That's the
Yeah.
goal of those kind of toys.
Yeah. I remember the one. What? Okay. Here's a question for you. Was there anything that was forbidden? So in my house, because we had carpet, was Play-Doh. My parents were like, absolutely not. You get no Play-Doh. And we would try and get away with silly putty, but once again, that got into some carpet, and yeah, it was forbidden once again.
My house had a lot of hardwood, so that was not a problem. I think
Nice.
it was the things that were popular. Basically, if it was the new hotness at school, my mom was like, "We're not doing it," because
Yeah.
I guess she's avert to being interesting. Because like I remember as a kid being annoyed with like she won't let us get Pokemon or whatever the thing is, and then like over time it turns out she was wrong, because when I was 5, I remember Pokemon being a thing, and she finally got us Red and Blue on the Game Boy, and Pokemon Red is responsible for me learning how to read, kind of, because that was the summer before kindergarten. And I didn't know what anything did. And my dad was like, okay, we're going to learn to read so you can stop asking me every 5 fucking seconds what's going on the screen.
I mean, that is a perfect arrangement. Jim
Yeah.
said shooting grandpa with the rifles was not allowed. I mean, that's fair. That's
Why do I get the feeling that Jim Eaton blew his grandpa's head off and now he's going to admit it in the comment section? I really hope he does. So, yeah, if it was like the new fad, she was just not into it. We're not doing it because reasons.
Yeah.
I never really like figured out why she was like that, but we would always be like late to the trend. So like Pokemon comes out in my sister's class, particularly because I'm not in school yet, in her 2nd grade class. And everybody's in on it, and she's like, no. And then my sister wears them down over time. And then I get Pokemon because of my sister wearing them down.
I mean, that's useful. That is the advantage of siblings. It's one of those things.
What's funny about Pokemon in particular is that, like, at the time, if you look at like magazines and like articles, they'll be like, this is crazy. It's from Japan. It's going to flame out in 6 months.
Bro.
It's the biggest media company in the world today. Still. Like it.
Yeah. It dominates. It dominates everything.
You have parents my age who have kids now who are introducing the same thing from their childhood to their children, and it's not just like, look at this thing I liked when I was a kid. It's I liked it when you were a kid. It's like all the kids in your school like it too.
Jesus. I just Googled what the value of the Pokemon franchise, and it says it's $92 billion. Just like, hold on, I gotta Google what Disney is worth.
Okay, so another thing about Pokemon, where the first thing that really caught on was the cards, and like no one knew what the cards did because we can't read yet.
That's that's wild.
The thing that really caught on for me was the figures. I love the little
Mm,
2-inch figures,
mm.
and I like collected them, and then they go in a box the in the wall for a while, or not the wall, the basement for a while. Why did I say the wall? I'm sick. And
Fair.
a box in the basement, and then I kind of rediscovered them around middle school,
Yeah.
and like wanted to start collecting them again. And then my mom gave me the like, "You're too old for this," but then took me anyway because
Mm.
my mom won't let me have anything fun. Now here we are. How long was middle school? Almost 20 years ago now. And when I moved in with Katie, I have this big bag full of figures.
Of course,
And I'm
as
like,
one does.
there's a few I really want to keep, but you have a classroom full of children. Why don't I
Yeah.
donate to your kids? And then you won't hate me for like putting them up on the wall or whatever. Uh, and she decided to uh, instead give it to like her friend and then fell out with that friend. And I'm like, God damn
Ah.
it. I kind of wish it went to the kids more because,
Yeah,
like,
I
I have
mean,
that person now, too.
that's fair.
But I still have, like, Pokemon figures in my apartment in our living room. And even when we were in Japan, I got a new one from, like, Generation 9.
Yeah.
So, like, the toys of my, like, literally baby childhood are still, like, ingrained in my uh, decor,
I
too.
mean, that's fair. Here, my grandpa took me to a motel for my 16th birthday and got me a Lady of the Night. And
Oh,
Jim
they got
responds,
Lady of the Night, did you? Was the name Velma?
"Cool grandpa." That's also
Because
fine,
Velma
Jim.
doesn't want to
Come here.
partake in the world's old profession. She wants to partake in the second oldest profession, which is gambling.
That's it. Victoria says I got my first real Barbie when I was 7 years old. That's it.
Barbie's a
I
great
have
one.
not. No. There we go. And Pokemon is the most profitable media franchise in the world. Imagine making more money than AAA companies spending millions. Yeah, I mean, that's the
Exactly.
crazy
Yeah.
part is that you never know. Remember, like there's a crazy meme that goes around every so often about two couples deciding on divorce, and their last thing was to go through the Beanie Babies and decide who gets what. And you're like,
I
yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
that's crazy shit. But you know, Beanie Babies are still around. And just for reference, everyone, so you understand, Disney, which is now a conglomerate of so many ridiculous things, but Disney is only worth 219 billion, whereas Pokemon, which is just cards, is worth 92. So
Now, Pokemon is the cards, the figures, the anime, the games, the like.
yeah, but I mean,
Go.
it's one thing, right? It's Pokemon. It's not Disney's now Disney. It's also Marvel. It's
Oh,
also
that's true. Yeah.
real estate. It's also tours. It's cruises. Is there
Yeah.
Pokemon
Okay.
Cruise? I feel like Pokemon
I'm sure
Cruise.
there is.
That would be a distinct group of older and younger people, and it would not be good. Pokemon has theme parks too. I did not know that. Oh,
They
good
do.
to know.
Um,
That is
there's
insane.
there's a lot to be said about Pokemon. I think specifically like the millennial generation, that is perfect for the beginning of Pokemon is like your childhood and also like older Gen Z. This is around the time where like Red, Blue, and Gold, Silver, Crystal, like late 90s, early 2000s in there. That is like Pokemon is in your brainstem, even if you weren't like even if you were Amish or something, there's still something in the air from people you know. And there is a
Yeah.
Pokemon Cruise.
Yeah. So apparently,
I guess someone
Victoria's
goes, I
Cruise.
sub.
Yeah, I sub. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
My
I go
little
to like
cousin,
sheep. I sub.
now old with kid, has was a huge fan of Pokemon. Yeah, well,
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Barbie was a good thing to bring up in Victoria's case. Katie, like, in addition to the Pokemon stuff in our living room, there is Barbies because Katie's a big Barbie fan. Like when that movie came out, she was like all for it to the point where last year they had a screening of it at the Hollywood Bowl,
And you
and me
went?
and her and did you meet Amanda and Elko at the wedding?
Maybe.
No, okay.
No.
Katie's bestie and her husband.
Probably
Uh,
not.
okay, well we all went and saw it. It was really cool. But the idea of like that is your childhood, and it's like on the big screen, and it's telling a compelling story. It's not just like direct to DVD.
Yeah.
Like Greta Gerwig really knocked it out of the park with that one. How does it feel to be balding and aging rapidly while talking about Pokemon? Let's see, bald and balding. A B, one,
Yeah.
which is that's half a divorce a person. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty stellar. Also, too, remember, you're the one commenting on this, so that puts you even lower than us. So calm down.
Yes.
Just relax. I got an invitation to a Pokemon Go cruise, and my time was not well spent. Oh, Jesus. That's, yeah. See, this is, I remember Victoria was playing Pokemon Go, and she's like, do you want to play? I'm like, no, I don't. And a couple times we went places and we ran into other couples. We knew one was her cousin and his wife, and I'm just like, he's like, yeah, we're here for Pokemon Go. And I'm like, yeah, we were drinking over there. And then Victoria's like, hey, I can get a thing outside in the street. And I was like, all right, fine.
Was this recently or back in 2016? Like that first
Oh,
summer?
2016.
Okay. That's the closest we've gotten to world peace, I think. Because that was before, at least in the US, because that's before Trump was elected. We were still on the like, everything's going to be amazing, like Obama-ness of it all. And
you all ruined it. Yeah, hey, you guys peaked at Pokemon Go.
We peaked at Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
So like,
cool
but
kid.
again,
no, you can't be a mod.
That was from like the like Pokemon nostalgia of it all. Because again, those millennials are now either out of college, mostly out of college, or getting ready to finish college. And it was, it was a very like crystallizing moment for a lot of people.
Well, you also had adults who could play.
Yeah.
And then in turn, you had kids who also had cell phones who also wanted to play.
Yeah.
Now it was everybody had to get a SCP Foundation International. Oh, Jesus. Would you rather go to Las Vegas or California? If you answer, I will.
I'm in California, so I gotta go California because like people go, oh, it's LA or it's San Francisco. There's a lot of stuff in California.
Yeah,
I'll go with California.
Yeah, I would. Well, yeah, he'll choose California. For me, I'm like, this is the thing is like, I've been to both Las Vegas and now I've been to California. I found both were too hot, to be honest. That's my opinion of both of them. But also too, they both had their enjoyable parts. The problem with Las Vegas is enjoyable while the sun is down. It's great.
Yeah.
As soon as the sun's up, you're like, I feel dirty everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there.
The sun shines and reveals all of the like the stickiness of it all.
Yeah. But also LA, the cool part was that like we drove out of LA and then to your wedding, which was like a 5-hour drive, and it was great. It was such an enjoyable experience. Like it was just a nice calming drive. Hilariously, like I remember so many times you made the joke where you're like, LA is an hour away from LA, and only after driving in LA did I realize, I'm like, oh, this is exactly like Toronto. Like, so because up here it's the same thing where like, yeah, I'm on one side of Toronto. If I want to go to the other side of Toronto, it can be up to an hour depending. Right. And that's why like I'll actively schedule stuff where I'm like, oh, we'll go there before traffic starts. We'll hang out, do our thing, eat, and then we'll come home after traffic is done. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be stuck in traffic. That's horrible. Victoria says, do you remember Digimon? Yes, I remember Digimon. I never played any of those games though.
I remember Digimon coming out and being like, it's a ripoff of Pokemon.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And nowadays they have a trading card game for Pokemon that is very unique in the way like the game itself works, where in most card games, when you're done doing whatever it is you're done doing, you go, okay, I end my turn. Digimon, you can't end your turn until you like all your cards use memory, like in the computer, right? That goes from 10 to 10 in either direction. So you need to get the memory back on your opponent's side by playing cards until like you give them less memory to work with. It's a very weird way for your game to work, which I think is interesting, but I never liked it much. I'm
I
sorry
never,
that didn't make any sense, but
to be clear to everyone, I never played Pokemon or Digimon. I just know
I
of
never
them.
played Pokemon TCG either. I just remember having some of the cards and then being into the figures and the games, the video games.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm new here. Hello, Wendy. Welcome. We are talking about toys of our youth. Go to Las Vegas on your way to California. Also a good bet. What do you know about LeBron James? Nothing. LA
Oh
was
god,
fun. It was fun.
so many of my students were like, "Who's the goat, LeBron or Michael Jordan?" And I'm like, "This is English class. Can we
Yeah.
talk about this later?" um,
I found it
and
non-cringe live. Interesting. Yeah. But that's well.
yeah, um, maybe let's get off Pokemon for a little bit and talk about like other toys. Now, as you as you get into like elementary school age, what sort of things did you play with? Like in like I'll say like second up through middle school. There's like a part there where it's not like, oh, I'm a little kid and I need to learn how to like
Transformers and GI Joes.
Transformers and GI Joes. Okay,
Transformers and
because
GI
that's like
Joes.
prime '80s. Like
Yeah. That
yeah,
was where I was at. And little did you know that knowing is half the battle. The other half is relentless violence. Those are the keys to everything. That's how it works. Las Vegas is a city, usually referring to one strip. California is an entire state with casinos, theme parks. I mean, you can't compare the two. I mean, you can. I feel like Las Vegas is a lot packed into a small area, but in both of them, murder is seconds away at all times. It's great. Why you weren't by his
that
wedding?
needs to be like a slogan for a city. Murder is seconds away.
No, seconds
Yeah.
away.
Why
Why
weren't you
you
by his
weren't?
wedding? Because he got there early and then he came up in time for the wedding,
Yeah,
uh,
it was so much
which
fun.
was fine. That was fun.
So we just fart. That's
Okay, we
just
don't have to
weird.
show every single comment, you know.
I hadn't read it. Okay, I
Okay.
play Pokemon, but don't tell anyone. That's fair. You don't have to tell anyone.
I mean,
Uh,
why be ashamed of it? Like I think there like especially around that time where you start getting made fun of as you
yeah,
get into middle school. But for me, I think like when you got into second grade, because this is like 2002, right?
yeah,
9/11 has already happened. Um, Gold, Silver, Crystal has already happened, and the like initial boom of Pokemon is starting to die off, and people are like, "Yo, Pokemon, that's little kid stuff."
yeah.
At the time,
Hmm.
so I think what um like our toys around that time, Super Soakers. Fucking
Oh,
like
so
if you were watching Nickelodeon in the early 2000s, every other commercial was the like latest technology in
yeah,
how to blast your friends in the face with a stream of water, and it was fantastic.
yeah. It was the greatest thing. We used to. We had water fights indoors sometimes, and
What?
we would use hot water in the bottles. Just to be very
What
clear,
is wrong with you? That's really funny.
yeah. And it was I remember it was this was we were actually teenagers. We were like actually probably not even high school at that point. And we went to it was so my brother's wife had a brother, and so me and him were good friends. He was actually best man at my first wedding. I was best man at his wedding, and then another buddy who was my best man at my second wedding. So the three of us were in a his apartment, and we were having a water fight. And then they cornered me. They were both attacking me, and I was winning. And then they cornered me into the bathroom, and I was like, "No problem, I got this." They're like, "You're gonna run out of water." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I filled it with hot water from the sink,
Oh,
and I would open a crack. I would open it a crack because I was bigger than both of them combined, right? So I would
yeah.
pull the door open just a crack, and then I would shoot them right in the face with the hot water. And they were like, oh my God, is that hot water?" And I'm like, "Yep." And it was a lot of fun.
Hot water was never really something we considered because it was always like you're doing this outside. No water fights in my house, right? And like yes, for the first couple of seconds when you turn the hose on in the summer and it's like scalding hot because it's been sitting in the sun,
Yeah.
right?
I
That's
mean,
only for a couple seconds though, but
I mean, this is okay.
yeah. Nerf
For
guns is another great example because like I remember like specifically for Super Soaker, the one that I remember the most was it was this big like you have the gun on the bottom and then there's this big like thing on top, so it looks almost like a parallelogram.
Mm, interesting.
And the thing on top, like the bottom is the actual like Super Soaker, and then the thing on top, you could pull this lever and it would shoot all the water in it at once. I think it was called like Flash Flood or something.
Have you seen there's a new one where you put the tip into a bucket of water and it charges electronically and it shoots in like bullet form. It shoots water instead of a stream.
Oh,
And
that's
it shoots a lot harder. Yeah. And
oh,
the idea of having a Nerf fight at work, I feel, is fantastic until it's not, and someone ruins it by like shooting somebody directly in the eyeball.
God damn it! You hit Michael from accounting in the eye. No more,
Yeah.
no more Nerf guns at work.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as somebody has to talk to workman's comp, you're like, that's a problem. We used to have a neighborhood water gun fight when I was a kid. Yeah. Gunfights
Yeah.
when I was a kid, but when we had to stop after somebody filled the Super Soaker with pee. Oh, that's so much worse. You know what though? That person, no one was friends with afterward.
That is
Yeah.
chemical warfare, and that is against the Geneva Conventions.
Yeah, I
Fucking
mean,
straight to-
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is a non-Christian. Oh, I guess thank you.
Okay,
Sure.
thanks.
We appreciate that, cool kid. Yeah, like I the thing is we would do so when I was in school, we would also I'm not sure if you guys did this because this hurts, is we would you wrap paper up really, really like you fold it a lot, and then you use just one elastic band and then you like and hit each other with it. And the problem is that some people would hide paper clips in there, so it hurts a lot more. And then
No,
a couple
never did
people would hide paper clips so they were pointing, like the pointy part would be facing forward, so it would like stick in you.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Kids are
and that
man.
it's oh yeah. A couple people got really hurt, and like the people would have welts, and you're like, hey, what happened to your arm? You're like, I got hit with a fucking thing.
There are some things that are
We use pennies. Yeah. We would throw pennies at cars that drove poorly. We would just throw pennies out the window at the car.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
penny
that
will
one-
not. Yeah, it'll just leave a mark. Like it doesn't necessarily put a dent in your car, but
It's
it'll
off the
little
side,
little scuff, and it's an annoyance.
I think a lot of like as you get into like later elementary school, you quit caring about the actual toys and it's more about the games.
Oh, yeah.
things about like board games, right, where you have Monopoly or fucking Chutes and Ladders and stuff.
Yeah.
Candyland. I think the thing with games was like most of the time video games come in during this time. We'll get to that in a second, but also things like Ding Dong Ditch or
Yeah.
Sardines in a Can, which is like, have you played Sardines in a Can?
No.
It's reverse hide and seek. So instead of everybody hiding and one person going to find them, one person hides. Everyone starts looking for them. When you find the person, instead of being like, here they are, you hide with them. And then
until
the last person looking loses. And then they got to hide. And
that's interesting. That's
yeah,
a
so
way fun thing. I feel like
I had two friends who were neighbors.
Yeah.
So Sardines in a Can was awesome at their place because it was like both houses were fair game.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you'd be like running over, like hopping over the fence, and then one of the moms would be like, "Well, you quit ruining my rhododendrons! God damn it, they're in there." Like,
We called it Ghost in the Graveyard, Little Deer. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
I've never played a game like that. I think that's really cool. We would
love
pay
to do Sardines in a Can again. Like as an adult, that sounds really fun.
Like I feel like grown-ups don't play enough games like that.
Of course not.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Atlas, did you lose your voice at a protest? No, just good old COVID. That's
Just
it.
good old COVID, Joey. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I sound like I've been smoking for 50 years. So,
Ta-da.
yeah, me editing on the back end is going to be just me turning up my audio a bunch. All I do is play games. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, like, well, that's even the other thing is I had a buddy who's like, have you gotten the new Doom yet? I said, no, I'm debating which game I want to get because I want to do some live stream gaming just because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But that Liver King and Jake Paul want to fight you.
They lose.
They would lose. I would just, it would be hilarious. That's actually, I've been watching and I keep on saying both of y'all 2 versus 2. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I would pick up Atlas and just start hitting them with Atlas. It'd be great. Just like he'd be my He'd be my possessed sword in my battle. It'd be fine. Yeah.
Dave the Barbarian.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Interesting you would say
Oh,
that, Joey,
capture the flag and kickball. That's pretty cool. Capture the flag is really fun. Like we played in PE,
yeah.
but it was boring because like here's the soccer field and there's the fucking flag. Capture the flag is more fun when there's like a varied environment.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like it's over the fence over there, and you gotta hop the fence and also hop back and like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like that's more interesting. Kickball is great.
Well, this is the funny thing is like when was the last time you flew a kite?
Ooh.
Hey, because I'll tell you, if you could get a kite going, we had so where my childhood home was, like across the street and a little over beside my buddy's house was a hill going downward. And like it was actually like there were no houses. It was like it was a hill that went to a circle. So
is it like the edge of the subdivision or whatever?
Yeah. So, but it was like a solid 100 meters, and it was facing like downward away from my house. So we would like ride on skateboards and stuff. We'd put ramps on there and do dumb shit like that.
Nice.
But then we would also fly kites because wind kind of went through that area as well.
Yeah.
So we would fly kites and we would get them like to the end of their string, and you're like, so you have a kite like 300 feet in the air, and you're just like,
yeah, and it's just like you can just leave it up there, tie it to a tree or something.
It was it was such a cool thing, but it was like then like but getting it up into the sky once we got it, we were like it was so much fun. I feel like that's the little things like that are things that people don't appreciate much anymore. But
when I was in middle school, they came out with these things called battle kites, which is pretty much what it sounds like. Your goal is to knock the other kite out of the air. So like my friends and I would go to the beach because Santa Monica, and you get them up there, and then like you kind of just stand there and talk to each other while trying to run your kite into the other and like knock it out of the sky. It was pretty cool.
Bro.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, thank you, cool kid. We appreciate that. Isn't that how you get electricity in Canada flying? I mean, I wish.
There's like a Canadian Ben Franklin somewhere where it's like, oh, I put the key on the kite, and then that's how he discovered electricity.
Yeah. I played Color Rush. I don't even know what Color Rush is. My dad's house was a big hill split in half by a creek. Perfect. Oh, that'd be good for capture the flag because you have flags on each side of the creek and you're good to go. Mm-hmm. Prime Mike Tyson versus Prime Floyd Mayweather. Who do you think would win? Prime Mike Tyson. Just one shot. Boom. Done. Now we just have
Nope.
Okay. Oh. Nope. But I don't even know what that is, but that's fine.
It's a sword for Jewish people. Just yeah. So,
man, that's funny. No, that's like I feel like I should get there. There are actually some really, really cool kites that are available now, and I'm like, there's a lot of people don't really go to a park to fly a kite. I think that'd be a cool because people fly drones, and you're like, yeah, but a kite is so much harder. I feel like it's a better experience, but. Yeah.
It's like people who are into like really ornate like analog clocks where they're just like, I'm into the original timepieces or whatever.
I'm sorry, pals. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We're trying to keep this polite. We don't have to be so. No, that's like, yeah. Capture the flag. Tag. I remember enjoying tag. Tag was fun, even though I was slow as shit. I still love playing tag. I would always be it, but I didn't care.
What did you like have variants on tag?
Oh yeah, so we would have we had like team tag. We'd have tag for like an entire day in class, so you'd have to like don't touch me, kind of like it was like people would just walk by like tag you're like, damn it, little things like that. But
tag? We're like if you hit someone, they freeze, and then someone else has to like crawl through your legs to unfreeze you, and then
that was just freeze tag. Yeah, we would do that.
Freeze tag.
I don't like. It's been a long time. Let's be honest. It's many moons ago for me. But yeah, that's hide and go seek as well. Hide and go seek was fun because then we would have to make a boundary. So one thing actually, you know what? This is something you would appreciate was where we grew up. In one area, everybody kind of moved to another area altogether. But where we grew up, there was access to a conservation area right by there, and we
Yeah.
would like the fence was always like perpetually ripped open in one area, and when it would snow, we would play manhunt, which is essentially two teams. You have like a 5-minute head start, and you just have to hunt it. So it's kind of like team tag, I guess, but also in the snow. And it was very, very enjoyable because also once you caught somebody, you got to give them a snow job, which is fun.
I love the idea of, like, I saw that episode of The Sopranos where they lose the guy in the Pine Barrens. Let's do that. That's the game.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. Dodgeball was fun, but someone always got hurt.
Yeah, dodgeball. I found that they don't do dodgeball in schools anymore, and I was very sad about it because this year, my school was like, "Hey, we're doing like a students versus teachers, like for
That's dangerous. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, finally. And then they changed it to kickball last minute. I was like, why you gotta like take all the fun away? When I was a kid, there was already that like anti-dodgeball rhetoric, and they changed it from like the big like kickball, the big red ones, to these little squishy ones.
Yeah.
Which like would have a lot of air resistance to it. So you'd throw it and it would just kind of like float, which means you had like less oomph to your throws, but you could curve them. So like if you had a good arm, you could like snap your wrist as you did it, and it would like go on an arc and then like hit the guy on the shoulder.
So Jebediah says my niece changed the rules of freeze tag to dance tag, and you had to dance in place while frozen and copy someone's dance to unfreeze. Damn,
I like that.
That's genius. Cool. Red Rover, I loved. We wouldn't play in this. We wouldn't play in the swimming pool. We would play just on a field, and it would be like 10 on 10.
Swimming pool work? How do you break the hands if you're underwater? That's or you like awkwardly walk toward the other side.
Hello, Sarah. Some do they use Nerf balls? We would always have a contest, so we would have like those. So there's the Nerf balls, and they would have the tail on them that you could throw a lot further. And I was never good at throwing a football. Just it's weird. I've never learned how to throw properly. So I was never good at it. I could just throw a punch. My dad
tried to teach me. He was like, you got to snap your wrist at the end. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm not thin like my dad. My dad has these you've seen my dad. He's got these very thin wrists, even before the Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So he was good at like throwing curveballs and like throwing a football. And I just could not get my wrists to do what I wanted to. It'll be the person in the pool and the other person outside the pool, and they have to jump in the pool and not get caught by the person that's in the pool. Oh, like you gotta like swim past them. Okay, that's
Marco Polo.
Marco Polo is like where you're like it's tagged, but by your sense of hearing. Where you
was also because we would go to Florida when I was really young. We would drive down to Florida for a couple of weeks every year, and we would play kind of like Marco Polo, but it was like fish out of water too. Like so. The person looking
Marco Polo, I thought.
Was it? Yeah, and you'd be like fish out of water, handgun Marco Polo. I mean, that's fancy.
We'd have grenade tag where we'd throw pine cones at each other. I think that's just throwing pine cones at each other.
You are Canadian. It's not in your DNA. I bet you. I can't flick a hockey puck. That is also true. That
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about video games? Because like around.
Somebody mentioned Sonic earlier. I forget who it was. But yeah, we had a Sega Genesis. Because all my friends had Nintendos, and I was jealous. This was what would happen in my household. And it happened so many times. There was the popular thing, and then there was something that was just better. And it was like, oh, everybody has a Nintendo. Great. We got you a Sega Genesis. It's better. It's got better games. And I'm like, yeah, but now I can't trade games with my friends. It was always like, and that would happen like so many times. Like, I remember my one brother as a gift got me a Sony, like MP3 player, and it had it wasn't a Zune, it was something else. And it was like, oh, this is better. It's better than an iPod. And it was better than an iPod, but it was such a pain in the ass because it had its own thing and everything. I'm like, oh, God,
yeah, where it's like Betamax. It has those extra lines of resolution. Shut the fuck up. No one else is using Betamax.
Yeah, that happens so often that I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. I'm the only guy here who hasn't really played a video game in years. Probably. You should do Your kids
I
will appreciate it.
Yeah, I've kind of I still keep up with video games, but I haven't really played in a long time.
No.
Especially since the Switch 2 came out, where it's like, A, it's too expensive for me
Yeah.
at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but I'm kind of not liking how they're being so anti-consumer with their practices. So I think I'm just going to be on my Switch 1 for a while.
Yeah, we have a Switch One, and we have Game Boys as well floating around.
Nice.
But
That's good stuff.
that's like I remember my one brother was in the hospital, and so we got two Game Boys, and everyone in my family played Tetris like crazy. Like they were the Tetris and Alleyway were the big games, and like literally everyone in the household got to level 99 because like that was just the thing.
I love the idea of like, your mom or your dad gets to level 99, and it's like, I don't know the names of any of your siblings. So Dino's brother, you're level 97. What are you doing? Get those numbers up.
It's 100%. Yeah.
Shouldn't I be worried about my grades? No, you got to figure that out first.
The crazy part was how like my dad was like, "Are you playing the video games again?" And then we'd be like, "Oh, Dad, we need batteries again. Again, you need batteries. Come on. Why don't you go outside?" They're like, "We were outside playing." And he's like, "This is horrible." I think the one satisfaction that he had was that you couldn't play it at nighttime because ours were the first Game Boys, so they didn't even light up or anything. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I remember doing you're playing your Game Boy in the car, and you got to wait for the street light to pass over the car for you to see, and then if you try and turn on the little light in the back,
you're
off the light.
You're gonna get a ticket. We might die. Yeah, you can't do that.
My dad would just say, "I can't see," and I was like, "I can see," and he's like, "Well, I can't. This happens when you get older. Turn it off." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. Cool kids back. No, I had a Sony Ericsson phone, but no, this is like a little MP3 player thing. Hello, everyone. July 20th.
We were always
happy birthday in advance.
Happy birthday. So we we were pretty much on the edge with like handheld. My mom didn't seem to care about handheld. Like Game Boy, great. Yeah. Game Boy Advance, awesome. Go for it. SP or did the SP and the DS, cool. Something about a console on a TV was the devil to my mom.
100%.
And I have no idea why. She would not let us get a video game that hooked up to the TV. So no Dreamcast, no N64. Like my first video game on a TV that I ever played was Super Smash Bros. At Justin Shabahang's house, and he would be kicking my ass. I'm like, "How do you play?" He's like, "Figure it out." I'm like, "I'm 5. How does this work?"
That's fair. That's fair.
So eventually, the Nintendo GameCube comes out. Super Smash Bros. Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Monkey Ball, all that stuff. Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure 1 is on the GameCube. All my friends are playing. I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, this is all my friends are talking about is video games. And if I don't play them, I can't connect with my friends. Now I'm 10, so I'm not expressing this as concisely or
exactly
coherently because I'm 10.
Yeah.
But eventually, one Christmas, we finish opening our presents, and then there's no GameCube, and I go to the bathroom, and I come back, and my dad goes, "Check behind the couch. It's a GameCube."
There you go.
And my mom was livid. He got it for us without her knowing.
Out of spite.
I think. I think because this was like when it's falling apart too, like around this time.
Perfect.
So finally, I'm able to like play video games, and I was one of those kids where like I'm playing for like 5 hours at a time because I didn't have the drip feed beforehand. So I'm like, get it all in my veins immediately.
That's it.
Yeah. So that is definitely like what the toys of my childhood became from like 5th grade up through like high school. Because you never stop playing with toys, even if you say you do.
No.
Yeah. Hey. Hell, even like high schoolers now, where they like some of them.
Case in point, I have a Lego Optimus Prime Transformer. So yeah. I have Bumblebee over there. I got to make. So
there's a student of mine who just graduated. Congrats to him! And like all he talks about is Transformers, and I'm like, awesome.
It's a great story.
Cool. But yeah, like even today, where like you see kids like they call it kinesthetic learning, or like
Yeah.
hands-on learning, basically. But some kids will just like have like a Rubik's cube or some slime, and I'm like, as long as it doesn't cause a mess, fine. Like if it helps you concentrate, cool. I think toys are the shit.
My mom would kick my ass as Chun-Li on Street Fighter 2 Turbo on SNES. Hey, there's nothing better than when a parent is like, "Here, let me see," and then they beat your ass, and you're like, so bad. And you've been beating all of your friends, and your parents are like, "Oh no, you are still just a novice. You have no idea." Yeah,
my dad was really good with like puzzle games, or like he was really good at Super Monkey Ball, where my sister and I, that was the one, like that and Mario Kart were the two games we'd play together.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically there was this level where it's like a gear in the middle where there's the finish line, and you have to go in at just the right angle to like get through, because it'll go and then stop, and there's the opening, and then it'll start spinning the other direction. So you have to time your like roll at exactly the right speed, at exactly the right angle. And he was like, "Give me this." 3 tries, gets in. There you go. Yeah. He leaves. Like,
see, that was like I was never good at the like not role-playing games, but games that were like giant puzzles where you would walk into a room and you had to figure out how to get out of that room and then the next room and so on and so forth. I'm like, I would get so fed up with those after a couple of hours. And I'm like, I hate this game. This is stupid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we would we also started playing, like, because we had a few guy friends. There was like 4 of us in total. So we would play things like Risk, and that would take like 6 hours, and we would still be nowhere near finished. And it's just
yeah.
But it's fun. Like we would play. Actually, you know what?
Husband are big Settlers of Catan fans, and I'm like, this is boring. All you do is ask if you have something. Can we play Risk? And he's like, no.
That's So my wife and her friends, they're all Asian, and they would play Settlers of Catan, and I'm like, this is a boring game. Like, no, it's not. I'm like, Risk is the game. Yeah. And I had friends that would be like, you got to play Axis and Allies. I'm like, that's too far. Risk is a low level. Axis and Allies is like Risk on steroids. That's basically what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like Risk is just Monopoly on steroids, and then Risk in turn on super steroids is Axis and Allies, and it's way harder. Dude, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 are my favorite games of all time. Yes. I mean,
yes.
You know what we would play was on Sega Genesis. It had an Summer Olympic game. I forget what it was, but it was essentially it was like 7 or 8 different games. One game in particular was surfing, and I would dominate on that game to the point where I would get so fast where I would launch my surfer out off the wave, off the screen, and the screen is going ridiculously fast, right? And I'm like, and the only time like I was dexterous enough that I would get it, so he would pop into the screen, and you had to number one, you couldn't go straight into a wave because then you'll die.
Yeah.
So you had to angle it. So he's coming down, so you have to be angled, but then you have to angle it more to make sure he doesn't crash at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And I would get this, like, I would get air for like 3, 7 seconds, 10 seconds, and then come in, boom, and I would catch it. And people were like, I would always have the high score. It was so much fun.
We had, I remember for like Beijing and Sochi and like all that stuff, like ever since the Wii, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was a thing, and it was kind of fun. I don't know. I quite enjoyed like you're more excited about the crossover factor where you're like, we're in the same place. It doesn't matter. It could be anybody.
It could be anybody. Well, you realize that later on, right? My in-laws and Victoria, like, we have a ping pong table outside in our carport, and but they would play Wii Sports constantly. And Victoria even had an exercise pad. She had the Wii Sports pad, like it was like two things you would stand on. And even to this point, I was looking and I was like, oh, I gotta grab the broom. I grabbed the broom, I pulled the broom, and then I realized the Wii Sports thing you stand on was inside there. And I'm like, hey, why is that there? She's like, I have no idea. I'm like, all right, well, let's just keep on. She's like, I don't even know where the cords are.
I remember when Wii Sports came out and there were all those articles where it was like video games good for you now? Dot dot dot. Like,
Oh, yeah.
old people play Wii Sports in retirement homes. There's always a joke that we make on this show that when millennials get old, we're just going to be playing like Mario Kart
Yeah,
in whatever retirement home we end up
for
in, and
Jello.
like,
Mario Kart for Jello. Hey, guy, you owe me a Jello.
yeah,
Just 100%.
probably what's going to end up happening if we can like keep our technology
Yeah.
alive long enough. Um,
Hello.
did you ever play like board games with the rest of your family that had to do with like being smart? So like a Scrabble or a Risk or something like that where
Risk, yeah, we would play
yeah.
Risk every so often. Yeah, and it always we played Monopoly a few times as kids. That always went to shit.
Yeah, because we're like murdering each other by the
Yeah, Risk as well. Eventually would go to shit. The Wii peaked way too early with Wii Sports. I mean, Wii Sports definitely there was a peak existence, that's for sure.
I think because it
chess.
occupied a certain niche. Chess is another good one. Chess or
So
checkers.
we would play chess occasionally, but we would more so play backgammon in my household. And I still I long to play backgammon with people. And I have a few friends who play, but we never get around to it. And I've downloaded backgammon games on my phone and played that against people like all over the world. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very good at backgammon, but like I play it out of joy as opposed to anything else. So
I never really learned how to play backgammon. It was always chess or checkers. We had a backgammon board, but I never used it.
Most people, it's an older game, but it's a lot more. Yeah. It's kind of a lot more strategy than you realize.
Yeah, chess and backgammon were from like Asia, and they made their way through the Silk Road to like the Iranian Empire.
Yeah.
And their Shah Khosrow was like, everybody in my empire get really good at chess and backgammon, because chess helps you learn how to strategize, and backgammon is helping you to learn what you can and accept what you can't. Board games. Like, he was a weird guy.
I mean, yeah, but he's not wrong. I played chess. I played what is Color Rush, cool kid? I don't know what Color Rush is.
What is Color Rush? He did say he was pretty young, so maybe it's like a newer game.
Yeah. Give us your youth with your knowledge of young things. My first game, my grandparents could beat me at. My grandpa would eagle most every hole on Wii Golf. Damn. Hey, you know what though? That's the perfect way for old people, like really old people, to link up with young people is by playing golf, because golf is not a game about strength and endurance. It's not the same, right?
It's a game. People say it's a sport. It's a game, because sport, I think, requires like physical taxation on the body.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Well, like I feel like game and sport is more so the only real divider between that is if you get paid for it, right?
Not necessarily.
No, but that's like
poker is a game. You can get paid for playing poker.
Yeah, but then there is the World Series of poker, right?
That was another fun one. The classic, you're the youngest sibling. I'm going to teach you how to play this card game, whip your ass at it, and be like, that's what the world is like, kid, and then leave. So that's, I think, okay, so we had a really big chessboard. Like the pieces were, I'm having trouble like describing how big the pieces were. They're like from, how big is this? Like
it's 7-8 inches.
Yeah, like pretty big individual pieces. They're made of wood, wood chessboard.
Yeah.
I don't know which parent ended up with it. I can't remember. I remember seeing it in both houses at one point.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was
mostly actually their third child was this giant chessboard, and they would share custody. That's fair.
It was very ornate, but like I was never any good at chess because I'm like, when you're 9, you're bad at thinking moves ahead.
Yeah.
So I never really caught on to it. I did enjoy what's it called? Scrabble, because I was a really good speller.
Yeah.
So when they moved apart from each other, my mom got one of those boards where like you put it in the thing and it spins.
Oh yeah.
And it's got like the and the pieces are like, or in the slots on the board are like indented so your pieces don't go everywhere if it shakes. We're like Scrabble boards originally are just like the lines are painted on, and in this one were indents so you could stick your pieces in.
Like a travel Scrabble. I like it.
Kind of, yeah, but it was big. So every once in a while we'd play Scrabble, and that was like the board game I was really good at with my family, because like I remember spelling tentacle off of the word tree, and it was like, because if you use all your letters at once, you get 50 points plus whatever the thing is.
There you go.
So, yeah,
I remember a friend who had an English degree. She was like, I like to play Boggle. And my ex-wife was like, oh, me too. And I was like, all right, let's play Boggle. And we would. And I'm like, this game sucks. I hate this game because I'm not good at those kind of games.
Yeah.
So,
I don't even know how to play Boggle.
It's because so you have the case, you shake it up, and wherever they land, you put it down, and you have 60 seconds to create as many words as you can from connecting letters on the thing. And it's basically words with friends, all those same things. Yeah, it's all, and I'm not good at them. Just
gotcha.
My Victoria is very good at them, and she rubs it in my face. And sometimes if somebody's beating me like 6 or 7 times, I'll hand her my phone. I'm like, hey, can you just take care of that? She'll be like, destroyed. I'm like, thank you.
Did you was Apples to Apples a thing for you growing up? No. Cards Against Humanity? Color Rush is like people dress in different colors of shirts, and the tagger would call a color. The color that the tagger called, they run to the safe zone, and if the tagger calls Color Rush, they all run. I'm guessing you have to, like, you say red, all the reds run. You got to tag all the reds on the way, or like get as many people as possible. That's my guess.
Confusing.
Anyway. The like, what's it called? Fuck.
Yeah, you were asking me about something.
Apples to Apples. Okay, so Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I played that.
Okay.
But I played that as an adult.
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity came out when I was in high school, and by college it was really popular. And my friend Matt was like, just play Apples to Apples and play it like it's Cards Against Humanity. Because Cards Against Humanity is supposed to be like on purpose offensive apples to apples. And you can totally do that just with Apples to Apples. Because what happens is people will play Apples to Apples like, oh, I'm trying to match the thing with the first guy the person said, and they'll be like, oh, it's the most similar. But if you try and go for the most funny, if you do the Roger Rabbit method of like the rule of funny, it's much more fun and challenging. So like I did do that with some people where it's like hard mode Cards Against Humanity.
Interesting. Categories. I actually
Categories was great.
We would play what was the other one? Balderdash, which is so you have they'll give you a thing and you have to make up a definition or an explanation of it. Everyone hands them in, and whoever you hand them into, they read them all out, and that person decides which one is correct or not.
Balderdash meaning like bullshit, right?
Yes. Okay. So essentially it's we would play card game. We would play because we were all trying to be good people. So we would call it President, but the game was Asshole. And it was so much fun. Because then we would just add people. So you'd have neutral, and then you'd have vice asshole, vice asshole, then the asshole. And we would add vices. So it's like the more people we'd have, you'd have your like the 6th vice asshole. And then it was so much fun. I played Hangman before. Yeah, we would play Hangman in school.
Everybody plays Hangman. Yeah. That's the teacher ran out of shit to do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be like, all right, the book we're reading today, we're gonna be playing Hangman. Yeah, I've done that a few times. Or like you run out of time, but there's like 10 minutes left in class, or it's like, you guys want to play Hangman instead of nothing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile use of some brain power just to get things go. Cards Against Humanity, now you can make jokes with your friends. And
it's like you can always do that. I think some things I learned from Cards Against Humanity. Number one, if your card is pulled third, you have a much bigger chance of it getting picked, no matter what, because of the rule of 3, right? Number two, it's more about knowing whose turn it is, like knowing their sense of humor, than it is about like, here's the one that just says Hitler or whatever. Like, that is how you like succeed more at Cards Against Humanity, where like people are putting it on the pile and you're like, wait for it. They're gonna go from the top, okay, and then you put yours in.
Yeah, exactly. There's always there's good ways of doing it. It's fine. There's
everybody.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize how fun that kind of stuff can be. But it comes down to who you're hanging out with. If you're hanging out with people who want to have a good time. I played Uno. Uno has now come through and been like, you can't stack cards, you can't do this, you can't do that, and I'm like,
Fuck 'em.
what?
Fuck
Yeah,
them.
you guys are ruining the fun of childhood. It's horrible.
It's like that would be like if Gary Gygax, the guy who made D&D, was like, hey, no homebrew, and it's like, well, fuck you then. That's
What's the point? Well, it's very confusing because people will. I've had like even when you play Monopoly, people are like, okay, and any money you pay goes into the middle. I'm like, no, it goes back to the bank. They're like, no, it doesn't. You're like, yeah, that's the rule. And people will make up their own rules. They're like, oh, the money goes in the middle, and if you hit free parking, you get all the money. I'm like, yeah, I know. I am aware of that rule. You're wrong. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Uno definitely. I didn't realize it had like such a strong like house rules ness to it all until I like played with other families. Most of the time, you're either playing with your friends, and those friends come and go, and then those house rules kind of disappear into the wind. But as you like meet, if you get married to someone and play with their family, or even like I played with my students a couple of times. You know that last day of school where like there's literally nothing to do. I'm showing a movie.
Yeah.
So where like I played Uno, and before we started, I'm like, let me just make this clear. What are the house rules before we all start fighting with each other? And they go, okay. You can stack draw twos, meaning that if someone puts down a draw two and it's on you, you can put another draw two, and that moves it down the line until you run out of draw twos. You can do the same with draw fours. But you can't put like a 4 on a 2. It's got to be exactly the same. I'm like, can you do it with yourself, or you go draw 2, draw 4, draw 6? They're like, no, it's got to be down the line. Great. So now that we're all on the same page, then
I'm going to destroy everything you have. And just.
I think I won one game out of like the 7 or 8 that I played over the course of those last couple of days. I played checkers. Yeah, I
hated checkers. I hated checkers with every fight. People are like, you want to play checkers? I'm like, no, I'm an adult. I play chess or backgammon. And the people I would tell people, I'm like, oh, do you play backgammon? They're like, no. And I'm like, well, that just says something. House rules, you gotta play house rules. I mean, see, that's the problem is when you have somebody who's like, no, it's my house, it's my rules, and you're like, your rules are stupid. It's not.
Yeah, it's like the guy coming out and be like, actually, it's GIF. Fuck you, graphic image file. It's GIF. Sorry, death of the author.
Exactly. That's it's not gaslighting. It's gaslighting. Okay, it's called gaslighting. Just
Oh my god. This was a really fun like discussion on like
it was
games.
I mean, I feel like we should talk more about we should do a little research and see what kind of what games have changed throughout history and how they work, but
totally
something to think about.
We could do that. We should also bring like a guest on. Do like a part 2. We've done this with Ama Marfo where
she might we did with books. You know what? It's not a bad idea.
Get someone to
find someone's expert at it.
Toys games. Uno had house rule sets you could buy with blank cards. Yeah. Fine. But it was always like push-ups or whatever. Just let me. Yeah.
Hide and seek also a top tier game. All right.
So I guess for comment section, if you're watching this in the future, what was your favorite toy or game from your childhood? Leave a comment below. Or if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, do that. Comment your favorite toy or game, or talk about your experience. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell a friend, or at Generation Dan, wherever fine social medias are found. How about you, Sir Dino?
Just like Marvel. I'm doing all sorts of stuff that things might change over the next couple of weeks. I'm going on a vacation, so I'm not sure how much internet I will be able to have, but my goal is to keep on doing stuff. Yeah, there may be guest hosts and everything, but that is coming, everyone. So in the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your day, I guess.
You were not done. At Atlas, wherever social media.
You usually go first. You just threw it to me, and I'm like, all right.
I was just trying to do it to be polite. And then you can also check out my other show, Nexus at Night, which streams every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and that's about the trading card game, Cardfight Vanguard. If that's not your bag, fine, whatever. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.